The February 28th, 2012 meeting of Transportation Committee now comes to order. Madam Clerk, could you please call roll?
Mr. Ansello?
Here.
Mr. Barker?
Here.
Mr. Baroth?
Here.
Chairman Colby?
Here.
Mr. Gamble?
Here.
Mr. Patterson?
Here.
Ms. Valerio?
Is there anyone signed up for public forum?
There is not.
Is there anyone present that would like to address this committee at this time? There being none, the next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes. You have the January 24th minutes of the 2012 Transportation Committee before you. They stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. The next item on the agenda is new business.
Referral 12-075.
Moved by Mary Valerio and second by Barker. Any questions? Mr. Baroth.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through the Chair to the Administration, I just have two questions. One is, for what purpose do we need these properties?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, these are permanent easements required for the completion of the Long Pond Road highway project. We're putting in a sidewalk, some drainage structures, and a turning radius for sidewalk ramp.
When you say a turning radius for the sidewalk ramp, I'm not sure what you mean by that. Through the Chair.
Through the Chair, where the highway right-of-way intersects with the Coon Road right-of-way with the Long Pond Road right-of-way, excuse me. The intersection is very close to the edge of pavement.
Okay.
And so an increased radius would allow a better turning opportunity there.
Okay, thank you. And through the Chair, my second question is, am I correct to assume that we're not taking on any special additional liability as a result of this purchase?
Through the Chair, no, there would be no additional liability.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. Next item, please.
Referral 12-76. Acceptance.
Moved by legislator Ansello, second by Barker. Any questions? Mr. Baroth.
Thank you. This is not really a question, it's a disclosure. I just want to acknowledge that I actually work at RIT.
Mr. Patterson.
Through the Chair, is this project part of a larger project going on with RIT for improvements in that area?
Through the Chair, besides the amount of money that we've obtained that RIT is going to be using for the lighting, they've also worked with the town of Henrietta, and they're going to be getting money through the state to Henrietta for some of the lighting. So all of the street lighting on Jefferson Road, on both sides, one side's Brighton, one side's Henrietta, will be upgraded as part of this project.
All right. And the next question is, through the Chair, are there any DBE, MWBE goals associated with this funding, and will RIT be honor bound to them?
Through the Chair, whatever the requirements are that, based on the value of the contract at the time of when it gets close to being bid, they'll have to achieve any of the standard DBE or MBE, WBE guidelines that the state may have.
Thank you, sir.
For clarification, what is the MBD, DBD, XYZ? What are we talking about?
DBE is Disadvantaged Business Association, okay. MBE is Minority, WBE is Women.
Thank you. Just not up on things, I guess. Any other questions? Mr. Roth.
Thank you. Through the Chair of the Administration, I did have one question. It states in there that it's for street lighting and utility improvements. What is meant by utility improvements? Second paragraph.
Well, through the Chair, the utility relating to street lighting, they'll be putting up new poles as well as putting up new lights.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item.
Referral 12-77,
Moved by
acceptance.
legislator Barker, seconded by Mary Valerio. And I believe, do you have a typo on this one? Jerry, I think there's a typo on the referral, I think.
Mr. Chairman, it's been brought to our attention, and I do apologize, this wasn't caught earlier, on the second page. The second last paragraph refers to the grant is 100% funded by Federal Highway Administration. No net county support is required. I believe that was a cutting and pasting error, and that entire sentence should be stricken. The previous paragraph is accurate in terms of the funding impact, but that line that's there should be stricken from the referral. I don't believe a formal amendment is necessary. It's not to the specific legislative actions, but we wanted to disclose that for the record and thank Legislator Baroff for bringing that to our attention.
Mary Valerio.
Through the chair, could you explain to me what is a horizontal curve as opposed to any other curve in the road?
Well, through the chair, a couple years ago, we actually had the vertical curve that we talked, and you guys didn't like my terminology, vertical curve, and you wanted me to say hills. But the technical vernacular is a vertical curve, while the horizontal curve is just as you are driving and you're turning around. It's a normal curve you think of, not the up and down.
Okay.
That's the difference between the two curves. And do you have another question?
No.
Oh.
Anybody else have a question? Legislator Baroff.
Thank you, and you're welcome. And through the chair, I had a couple questions about how was this firm chosen to do this work?
Can you repeat? How was what chosen?
The firm that we want to contract with to do this study.
Oh, through the chair, we went out and put in the. Make sure I got this. Through the chair, we sent out through the contract reporter, because there's federal dollars involved, and asked firms to submit a proposal for this, a scope and proposal, no fee. And we had several firms that were interested, and then we did a quality-based selection and selected Hunt Engineers as the person or the firm that's going to get the project, or we're recommending get the project.
Thank you. And through the chair to the administration, when you say a quality-based selection process, what does that mean?
Through the chair, there's various categories that we look at whenever we're selecting a consultant. Could be based at I can pull out all the terms, but it's some of it is the ability to perform the work in terms of their workload right now, their technical staff, their understanding of the proposal, their scope of how they're going to interpret what we want to be done, and how are they going to achieve what we want done. There are 4 or 5 of the criteria that are weighted, and then there's a group that gets together and does an evaluate and does individual ratings and come up with a score, and the highest score gets the project.
Thank you. So when you use a quality-based selection process, the highest score get the project?
Through the chair, that's correct.
And so does, in this case, then, does price not come into the matter?
Through the chair, price does not come into the formula at all. First,
Okay.
on a quality-based selection, you go through and determine the best firm, and then you will sit down after you have that firm. Then you sit down with them and give them specific scope, what to be done, and ask them for a fee proposal, and then we negotiate a fee proposal with them.
Okay. And then through the chair to the administration, how do you determine whether or not to do a quality-based selection process as opposed to a selection process based on the best bid provided? I.e., on many other referrals, we see different firms putting forth different bids with different amounts, and we take the least expensive amount.
Through the chair, when any of the projects out of Transportation Department, when we're selecting consultants, engineering consultants are all done by the quality-based. Professional services contracts are all done by quality-based. If it's a bid for a contractor when we're going out for award, then it goes to the lowest responsible bidder.
I can see the logic in that. My last question then, through the chair to the administration, is what other firms submitted proposals?
Through the chair, Clark Patterson, Blue Engineers, Mastermind Systems, Popley Design Group, and T.Y. Lin.
Could you say the fourth one again, please?
Mastermind Systems?
the one after
Mastermind? Oh, Popley,
Thank you.
P-O-P-L-I.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's all.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next item on the agenda.
Referral 12-101.
Moved by Legislator Barker, second by Legislator Anacell. Any questions? Legislator Patterson will let go first, I guess.
Through the chair, why is this a matter of importance?
Through the chair, we just recently got approval from the state to go out to bid. And when we open bids, there's a part of the component of the project that we need is some structural steel. And there's a long lead time on getting that in. And the sooner we can get the award to the contractor is when they can get it into the queue to get the work done so that we can ensure the work gets done this year.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Legislators Broth.
Thank you. Through the chair, I had a couple questions. Am I correct to assume that in the original plan there was no sidewalk on the new bridge to be built?
Through the chair, you are correct.
Through the chair, was there a sidewalk on the bridge that is replacing?
Through the chair, no, there's not.
Okay. And through the chair to the administration, am I correct to assume that the minor or slight realignment of the bridge itself did not in any way affect the results of the environmental impact decision that was made?
Through the chair, you're correct to assume that.
Okay, that'd be accurate.
That's accurate.
Okay. And then my last question is, through the chair to the administration, is the town of Penfield assuming any additional burden for the sidewalk being added at a late date? Or are we paying for the sidewalk entirely on our own?
Through the chair, the sidewalk on the bridge and where we can get federal reimbursement, we're going to get federal reimbursement, and then the county has a 5% share of that cost. That's the share on the bridge. The approach, the sidewalk approaching the bridge is going to be paid for by the town.
And that is an additional, through the chair, an additional amount than they would otherwise be paying if there was no sidewalk. In other words, under the old plan, there was no sidewalk over the bridge, so there'd be no sidewalk leading up to the bridge. So I would imagine that wasn't in the original plans. Under the new plan, there is a bridge with the sidewalk leading up to it. And am I correct to assume that the town of Penfield will be paying for that lead up, or at least a portion of that price?
Through the chair, yes, that's what the town will be paying for, is the approach sidewalk to the bridge.
Okay. And is, through the chair to the administration, is at the end of the day, is the town of Penfield taking on an additional burden as a result of this additional request that the county is taking on an additional burden for? Or is it entirely free to the town of Penfield?
No. Through the chair, no, that, as I said, maybe I'm not clear. There's the sidewalk on the bridge is part of the getting reimbursed by the federal government, and the state and ourselves have a share. And then as you lead up to the bridge itself, the bridge structure, there is sidewalk being installed as part of this project, and that is being paid for by the town.
Okay. Just so I'm clear, I'm sorry I'm being a little slow here. Am I correct then to think that under the old plan that there was no sidewalk leading up to the bridge?
There was no sidewalk, so there'd been no town share.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Thank you. All those opposed? Motion carried. Is there any other unfinished business to come before this committee? There being no unfinished business to come before the committee, the February 28th meeting of the Transportation Committee stands adjourned. The next Transportation Committee meeting is March 27th of 2012.